When you're leasing an apartment, there's always rules and conditions you have to follow. No pets, don't put holes in the wall, things like that. But what if they dropped in periodically to do a cleanliness check? Like mom, poking her head in to see if you've cleaned your room yet. And if it's not up to their standards, you're gone. What?
Legal aid is not here, but you are a tenant in a termination of tenancy action. Your landlord wants you to move.
Yes.
And as a defendant in such an action, you have the following legal rights. You have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you. And I sent you that information. Or you can seek other legal assistance. You have a right to a trial by a jury or by the court. If you do demand a jury trial, you have to tell the court at this first appearance and pay a $50 filing fee, or within 5 days of today by filing the jury demand form MC-22. And if you need that form, I'll give it to you. You must pay the $50 filing fee when you make the jury demand, or ask for a waiver of that fee. And if the judge grants the waiver, we could accept the jury demand. In this case, your landlord is asking to terminate the tenancy. They're not asking for payment of back rent. So we aren't going to be talking about emergency housing assistance. If both parties are agreeable to mediation, we can refer the matter to the Citizens Mediation Authority, Inc. And if the parties are interested, the court can help set that up. You may be able to reach an agreement for a conditional dismissal if you and the landlord can come to an agreeable term. For example, you agree to move out by a certain date, and if you do that, they would dismiss the case. If that does happen, I must provide you with that form for a conditional dismissal. Now, this is a termination of tenancy demand. You have a lease, which was signed in May of 2023. Your landlord has moved to terminate your tenancy for health or damage hazard to the property. You have failed the village rental inspection. On November 13th, and a number of items. What's your position, Ms. Barker?
I have fixed everything that that he found wrong. I moved the dresser away from the door. My apartment is completely cleaned. That day I had kicked my daughter out because I had heart surgery and she come to stay with me to help take care of me. And she left her dog there, went to the bathroom on my floor, and I didn't realize that. And that's all been taken care of. The dresser moved away from the door. There's nothing in the hallway. Everything's been picked up. Everything's been put in its place. Everything is put away in my place. I've had CPS at my house a couple of times since that inspection, and they come over once a month because I'm getting my son back next month, and they found nothing wrong with the place.
All right. Well, some of these things are easily fixable, and you've spoken to them. Dog feces on the kitchen floor, obstructed doorways, junk in the hallway.
And it's all been cleaned up. It's all done.
And it didn't include wiring or plumbing or that sort of thing. Mr. Bush, what's your position?
I would ask the defendant, has there been a new inspection of the premises by the village housing inspector, Mr. Hayden?
No, no.
How do we know that?
Mr. Hayden's notice says no reinspection necessary.
Well,
The item should be corrected within 14 days. No reinspection is required. So the allegation is that it was a hazard to others. Her contention is she's cleaned it up. I
we
guess
have
the
no proof.
landlord can inspect it. But the
I
fact,
sent pictures to my landlord.
Ms. Lamont, what's your view from close to the situation?
Your Honor, the lease says absolutely no pets whatsoever. And as of this morning, the dog was still barking. So the dog is still in the apartment. And that was the problem when we did the inspection of the dog not being properly taken care of. So I still stand that I want her out because the dog is still there.
There's no dog in my apartment. My neighbors have dogs. Both my neighbors have dogs.
All right, well, we're going to continue this for 7 days. Now,
Your
legal
Honor,
aid isn't
please.
here.
I am not going to be here 7 days from now.
Well,
Your
I
Honor,
don't blame- Yes.
Angela is on with Keystone right now. Keystone is paying her rent.
Yes.
So this is not a non-payment of rent case. It's a termination of tenancy case. But even so, she's entitled to have at least one 7-day adjournment.
Okay.
And so next, Howard, are you available on the 28th?
28th is what day?
Next Thursday, 10 days from now.
Yes, I will be back on the 28th. We return on the 27th, hopefully.
All right. Well, let's see what we've got. We've got a very crowded day that day, but it is, I wanted to have one more day before the end of the year. Are you available at 1:30 on December 28th?
Yes, I could be available at 1:30. Assuming Southwest Airlines gets me here.
All right, we can hope for the best. Miss Barker, usually legal aid would be here at this proceeding. They were actually at our noon bar meeting, but then they must have had to go back to Kalamazoo and who knows what happened from there, but they're not here. I would suggest you contact legal aid. Your landlord is requesting to terminate the tenancy. Their contention is that you have a dog in the premises in violation of the lease. You deny that. You also contend that you have cleaned the property up. The city inspector isn't going to come back. I guess you could ask him to come back. Or Ms. Lamont, you could make an inspection of your own, but at this point, they want you to move. And we may have to have a hearing on this.
I would ask the defendant, would you allow Ms. Lamont to come in and inspect the premises?
Yeah. I don't get out of work till 9 o'clock tonight.
I'm not doing it tonight.
I don't have to be to work till 2 o'clock tomorrow. You're more
Well,
than,
that doesn't answer my question of whether there's a dog there right now.
no,
Is this a standalone house, Ms. Lamont, or are there more than one unit in it?
It's a duplex. It's downtown Constantine, upstairs, 2 apartments.
Who
I
else
have-
lives there?
Well, there's someone that lives in the back, but when Mr. Morris went to also deliver and serve, he said when he knocked on the door that there was definitely a dog barking. I think it's on when he served the papers, he wrote it on there.
Yes, that was.
Maybe it might have been a text you sent me to, Your Honor.
The date of the service was personal on 12/8. There's no mention of a dog on this. He served her at the Dollar General parking lot.
Okay. He attempted to serve her on December 7th at 2:48, and he says the dog barking loudly each time. He tried the 7th and the 8th, and the dog was barking loudly each time. Met the neighbor, said the dog has been barking all day. We'll keep trying. So that was
All
from
right, Ms.
Mr. Morris.
Barker, you got yourself in this position. All right, Miss Lamont, I'll leave it to you if you wish to do an inspection tomorrow after 2 p.m. But we will be here on December 28th at 1:30.
Your Honor, I prefer to go a time that she doesn't know I'm coming, so if the dog is there, I can catch it.
Yes, well, you can go right there this afternoon and knock on the door. I guess she's here and you're there and see if there's a dog there. But yeah, I don't want you to go in there and there is a dog in there. That's not safe for you, but you can go knock on the door and see if there's a dog barking and see whether she's being dishonest or not.
And I mean, I did ask her to send me pictures of the inside of her apartment, and it's still not up to our standards for cleanliness. So I will do an inspection before we come back to court then.
Ms. Barker, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, I'll see you on December 28th at 1:30.
Is that going to be Zoom or in person?
Yes, it'll be by Zoom. All right, good afternoon. Are you Angela Barker? We were here last week in this case, which is entitled Lamp and Key Properties LLC versus Angela Barker and any others, including pets. We were here on the 18th, which was actually 10 days ago. And we learned that there were a number of allegations that you were a hazard to your neighbors. And you contended that you had fixed all of the issues that were pled in the complaint. And you said that CPS had done a house inspection. Either they're not very good inspectors or the house got a lot messier after they made the inspection. I ordered that you allow Miss Lamont to make an inspection, and she did. Yeah. And shared those pictures with the court, which are not yet in evidence. I shared those also with Ms. Bauer from Legal Aid. Mr. Bush, what's your position?
Our position is that there is still a continuing situation which has not been cured, and that basically there are grounds for the eviction. At this time, I would move for the admission of the pictures into evidence.
Well, we got the cart before the horse.
The expression putting the cart before the horse is an idiom or proverb used to suggest that something is done contrary to the natural or normally effective sequence of events. The meaning of the phrase is based on the common knowledge that the horse usually pulls the cart, despite rare examples of vehicles being pushed by horses in 19th century Germany and early France in the 20th century. The earliest recorded use of the proverb was in the early 16th century. It was a figure of speech in the Renaissance. A variant of the proverb is used by William Shakespeare in King Lear, Act 1, Scene 4, line 230. May not an ass know when the cart draws the horse?
What's your position with Lamp and Key Properties?
My position?
Yes.
I'm the owner.
All right. And you were here when we were here on December 18th discussing the condition of these premises.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, I
And
was,
you
Your
were
Honor.
here when I ordered that she allow you to make an inspection of the premises. And were you
Correct.
able to do that?
Yes, I did.
And when did you do that?
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
All right, so yesterday would have been December 27th. At what time?
Just a second, I can tell you. Angela. About 9 o'clock. I think it was about 9. Does that sound right, Angela?
Yeah,
And you took photographs to document your inspection?
I did, Your Honor.
And you sent a copy of those to Mr. Bush and also to the 3B civil clerks?
And then I also sent a copy to Angela, so she knew what you guys were going to be looking at.
All right. And were those fair and accurate photographs of what you saw on the 27th of December?
On the 27th, yes.
And what was the condition of the apartment?
Your Honor, it's not to my standards.
Well, people have varying standards, but what I saw was lots of stuff, lots of laundry piled up in front of the door, a generally unkempt apartment. I've certainly seen worse,
Yeah.
but you had also indicated that it's a non-smoking apartment. Did you see any evidence of smoking?
Yes, and Angela did tell me she had just got done smoking when I walked in.
Did you see any evidence of animals?
I did not this time, Your Honor. And the neighbors have not been complaining. Except, I guess, the dog visited during maybe Christmas Eve and Christmas. Because there was that correct?
Christmas Eve, he was over for about a half an hour, yes. And then I left with him. Yes.
All right.
The laundry that's in the 2 baskets by the laundry room area is my daughter's, who stayed with me when I had heart surgery, and she has not been back to pick them up. That's why they are sitting there. It's not unkept laundry, that's her belongings. And that's how
Yeah,
she.
but it's your apartment.
Yes, it is.
That's a fire hazard and it's
It's by,
also,
it's not by the fire door. That's by the laundry room. The laundry door.
yes.
Those are unkept, those are clean. They're just piled in there where she put them in there to come back to get them.
So that's one of the reasons they don't want you as a tenant, because that's the way you keep your apartment.
But I don't keep my apartment. My daughter's supposed to come back and get them.
Yes. She also indicated you're continuing to smoke in the unit.
I smoked one time in there and I didn't think about it not being on the lease. I just haven't felt good. And I've been working and I should not have done it. And I have not done it since. I don't normally smoke in my apartment. No, I don't.
I don't have these pictures in a format that I can screen share them.
I know those baskets of laundry are going to storage today. When I get out of work, I had to be to work at 6 o'clock this morning. I was at the hospital yesterday with not feeling good. I'm going to put them in my Jeep and take them to storage and they'll no longer be there. And then in my room, I had a couple blankets on the floor because I got new blankets for Christmas and another tote that I'm taking, that's in my car now that I'm taking to the free store because I no longer need those because I got new ones. And then there was a little pile of laundry in the washer because I do my laundry 2 days a week because it's only me there, and I put them in front of the washer because yesterday was my laundry day. And it was only 9 o'clock in the morning when she got there. And I had not got my laundry done yet because I worked until 10 o'clock the night before.
Is this a subsidized property?
Keystone pays, I'm gonna say 95% of her rent.
They do.
The first picture shows a very large pile of clothing,
That's my laundry. I
Alright.
have a washer to do it.
piled up in a heap near the laundry room. The
Yeah, that
second
was-
picture shows the kitchen, which is not filthy, but it's quite cluttered. Of
That's
course, this is right after. Miss Barker,
Yeah.
only one person can talk at a time.
I'm sorry.
There are bottles that need to go, potatoes, stuff on the table. The counters are full of dishes that look like they've been washed, but there's stuff really close to the stovetop, which looks like could be a fire hazard. There are dishes in the sink also. It seems to be a single sink. There's a big bunch of stuff in a tote. There's a blurry picture, which I think is something blocking the exit door. What is that, Miss
The red
Lamont?
light, the red
Yes.
light that is the fire exit door. And that's where that pile of clothes is at.
It's 2 blankets.
Then there's a picture of a bunch of clothes piled in the bathroom. And otherwise just pictures of kind of a messy bathroom. And then there is the living room with a small Christmas tree and a number of items. And then apparently the bed is the same room as the living room, which has got stuff stacked on it. And I guess maybe nobody's house looks the greatest right after Christmas. All right. They moved to terminate your tenant. Now, some of these things, maybe you rectified them, but this started with a Village of Constantine rental inspection. And Miss Lamont got cited as a landlord for this apartment. Dog feces on the floor, back door blocked, junk in hallway. The apartment has been trashed, and it is a hazard to the neighboring units. They didn't plead no smoking, but it's also one of the conditions of your lease. So we were here on the 18th, and you knew they were coming for an inspection, and that's all the better that it looked. And you were smoking in there immediately before she came in. Someone else is paying your rent. And sometimes when something doesn't cost very much, it isn't treated with very much value. And this apartment is not treated kindly. Take no joy in this. Miss Barker, is there anything else you want to tell me?
I do take joy in my apartment. I was homeless for 3 years. I enjoy my apartment.
Well, I'm going to order that you move out of it.
All right.
They don't want you as a tenant anymore, and you're violating the conditions of the lease. I certainly don't want you to be homeless, but there were the earlier violations with the dogs and the people that weren't on the lease. And then you knew she was coming to inspect it, and that's all the better it got cleaned up. All right, you have 10 days to move out. Unless you can work something out.
Okay.
Excuse me, January 8th. No money judgment is entered at this time. Bad way to end the year and start the new year. You should get a hold of your caseworker immediately.
I'm gonna,
If you go out to the counter, the clerk will give you a copy of this order. You also have until January 8th to appeal this,
okay.
but you're gonna have to move. All
Judge,
right.
I'm happy to speak with her.
All right, Ms. Bauer from Legal Aid will be willing to meet with you in a breakout room, so let me set that up.
Okay. How do I speak with her?
He's working.
Yeah,
on it.
let me. Just click the button that says join, you can have that badge. All right.
Everybody else.